Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about something deeply personal and often misunderstood, focusing on yourself, not others. We live in a world that constantly compares us to those around us on social media, in our communities, even in our workplaces. We're often told to measure our worth by other standards, to chase what others have, to live according to someone else's timeline. But I'm here to tell you that the most powerful thing you can do in this world is to focus on your own journey. Now, I understand this is easier said than done. It's hard not to look at others and think, why don't I have what they have? Or why can't I be like them? But let me remind you, your story, your path is uniquely yours. The struggles you face, the growth you experience, the lessons you learn, these are part of your personal transformation. We can't change who we are by comparing ourselves to others. We can't grow if we're always looking to the side, measuring our worth against someone else's life. What we can do is show up for ourselves, lean into our vulnerabilities, and be present with who we truly are. It's not about perfection. It's about the courage to show up with all of our flaws and all of our beauty and to say, this is me and I'm enough. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean being selfish. It means honoring your own needs, your own heart, your own truth. It's about giving yourself permission to be who you are rather than who you think you should be. It's about trusting your own voice over the noise of the world. When we stop trying to be everything for everyone else, we make room for the most important relationship in our lives, the one we have with ourselves. We get to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy of my own love, respect, and attention. When we honor ourselves, we build the strength to show up more authentically in our relationships with others. Embracing your unique journey is an act of courage. It's a deep commitment to understanding that your life is your own, and no one else's path will ever be identical to yours. We live in a world that constantly measures us against others, whether it's through social media, family expectations, or societal norms, and often we find ourselves trying to fit into a mold that doesn't align with who we truly are. It's easy to look around and wonder why we're not achieving the same things at the same pace as those around us. But the truth is that the comparison is not only unhelpful, it's harmful. Each person's journey is shaped by their own circumstances, choices, struggles, and victories. No two lives are the same, and that's what makes your journey so important. When we focus too much on what others are doing, we lose sight of the unique strengths and qualities that we bring to the table. Your experiences, no matter how big or small, have led you to where you are today, and they are the foundation for the growth and wisdom you will gain in the future. Your journey has shaped you into the person you are, with the ability to navigate challenges, learn from setbacks, and celebrate your progress in your own time. The moment you start to embrace your path, instead of wishing for someone else's, you start to tap into the full potential of who you are meant to become. The beauty of embracing your own journey is that it allows you the freedom to pursue what truly matters to you. When you stop chasing after someone else's dreams or measuring your worth against someone else's success, you open yourself up to the possibility of living a life that is genuinely fulfilling. It's not about achieving the same milestones at the same time as others. It's about finding your own pace, your own rhythm, and staying true to the direction that feels right for you. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to success or happiness. Everyone's path is different, and that's something to be celebrated, not feared. The journey of embracing yourself means that you will sometimes face moments of doubt and fear, but that's okay. Those moments don't define you. What matters is how you choose to navigate them. Your journey will have ups and downs, moments of clarity and moments of confusion. You will face setbacks and breakthroughs. Through it all, though, the most important thing is to keep moving forward, trusting that every experience, every step is part of the process that will ultimately lead you to exactly where you need to be. It's easy to get caught up in what others are doing because we live in a world that values external achievement. But the true measure of success is not found in the lives of others. It's found within you in how you show up for yourself, in how you grow, and in how you make peace with the fact that your path is uniquely yours to follow. The beauty of your own journey is that it's constantly unfolding, and only you can decide where it will take you. Let go of the pressure to keep up with someone else and trust that where you are is exactly where you need to be. It's easy to get caught up in the trap of comparing ourselves to others. We live in an era where everything is laid out in front of us on our screens and conversations and advertisements, and even in the conversations we have with the people around us. Everyone seems to be doing something, achieving something, or moving forward at a pace that feels faster than our own. It's natural to look at someone else's success, happiness, or progress and wonder why it's not happening for us. We start to measure our worth based on someone else's achievements, believing that somehow if we could just reach their level or replicate their success, we would finally feel content and accomplished. But the truth is that comparison does more harm than good. When you compare yourself to others, you are robbing yourself of the joy and satisfaction that comes from your own journey. You begin to look outward for validation, seeking approval or acknowledgement from others, instead of looking inward and recognizing your own value. The more you measure your worth against someone else's life, the more disconnected you become from the reality of your own experiences, strengths, and capabilities. We all have different paths in life shaped by different circumstances, values, and goals. What works for one person will not necessarily work for you, and vice versa. Success is not a one-size-fits-all concept. It's deeply personal and can take many different forms. Comparing yourself to someone else doesn't take into account the full context of their journey, the struggles they faced, the sacrifices they've made, or the obstacles they've overcome. You're only seeing a snapshot of their life, and it's an unfair comparison to make because you are not privy to the full story. One of the dangers of comparison is that it breeds feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. If you constantly look at someone else and think, I'm not doing as well as they are, or I don't have what they have, you start to believe that you are somehow lacking. You internalize these feelings of not measuring up, and instead of focusing on the steps you can take to improve your own life, you get stuck in a cycle of negative thinking. This mindset only hinders your growth and progress because it distracts you from the things that matter most to you and your personal development. The other issue with comparison is that it can make you lose sight of your own goals. If you're constantly trying to live someone else's life, you end up pursuing their dreams, not your own. You begin to chase someone else's definition of success rather than creating your own. This can lead to frustration and a lack of fulfillment because deep down you're not working towards something that genuinely aligns with your passions, values, and desires. It's important to recognize that the goals and dreams that are meaningful to others may not be the same for you. What drives one person might not resonate with you at all, and that's perfectly okay. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on the progress you're making on your own journey. Take the time to acknowledge your accomplishments, however small they may seem. Celebrate the moments when you've overcome challenges, learned new things, or taken a step forward in the direction that matters most to you. Progress is not always linear, and it's important to remember that everyone's timeline is different. Just because someone else is ahead of you in one area of life doesn't mean you are behind or failing. Everyone moves at their own pace, and success looks different for each person. By choosing to stop comparing yourself to others, you free yourself from the constraints of external expectations and judgments. You can start to focus on your own growth, your own goals, and your own path. You learn to trust your own journey and to believe that where you are right now is exactly where you need to be. And when you stop comparing, you also open yourself up to the beauty of your own story, with all its twists, turns, and surprises. You realize that your life is yours to live, and that's something worth celebrating. The more you embrace who you are and honor your own progress, the more you will find that your happiness and fulfillment come not from what others are doing, but from the joy of being true to yourself. Learning to focus on self-love and self-respect is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. Too often we give our attention, energy, and love to others, sometimes to the point of neglecting ourselves. We are quick to validate others, to support them, and to encourage their growth, but how often do we turn that same love and respect inward? How often do we pause to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, I am worthy of my own love? Self-love and self-respect are not just about feeling good about yourself when everything is going well. They are about accepting yourself, flaws and all, and recognizing that you deserve the same kindness and care that you offer to others. Self-love begins with acceptance. It starts with the decision to stop criticizing yourself for your imperfections and to start embracing who you are in the moment. We live in a world that constantly pushes us toward perfection through advertisements, social media, and even in our personal relationships. We're told that to be loved and accepted, we must meet certain standards, whether it's physical appearance, accomplishments, or status. But the truth is, no one is perfect, and that's exactly what makes us human. When you learn to love yourself as you are without needing to conform to external expectations, you free yourself from the cycle of constant self-judgment. You begin to see yourself not as a project to be fixed, but as a person who is worthy of love, just as they are. Self-respect goes hand in hand with self-love. It's about setting boundaries that honor your own needs and desires, not because you are being selfish, but because you understand that you are worthy of respect and consideration. It's easy to become overwhelmed by the demands of others, whether it's work, family, or friends, and to put your own needs aside. But self-respect means recognizing that your time, your energy, and your well-being matter. It's about saying no when something doesn't align with your values or your mental health. And it's about standing up for yourself when you need to. When you respect yourself, you make choices that are in your best interest, even if that means disappointing others or going against the grain. When you prioritize self-love and self-respect, you begin to set a positive example for the people around you. People who love and respect themselves are able to give and receive love in a way that feels balanced and fulfilling. They don't seek validation from others because they have already validated themselves. They know their worth and they don't settle for anything less than what they deserve. This doesn't mean they are perfect or immune to mistakes, but it means that they are not defined by their flaws. They understand that they are worthy of growth, of kindness, and of happiness, and they seek these things from within before looking for them outside themselves. Self-love also involves forgiveness, especially the forgiveness of yourself. It's easy to hold on to guilt, shame, or regret over past mistakes, but self-love requires you to release these burdens. It's about understanding that making mistakes is part of being human and that you are allowed to learn from them without letting them define who you are. When you learn to forgive yourself, you give yourself the space to heal and grow. And you stop carrying the weight of past decisions with you into your future. You start to realize that your worth isn't tied to your past. It is rooted in who you are right now in this moment. Finally, self-love and self-respect are acts of courage. It takes strength to stand up for yourself, to choose your own happiness, and to love yourself in a world that often makes you feel like you're not enough. But every time you choose yourself, you reinforce the belief that you are deserving of your own care and compassion. The more you cultivate self-love and self-respect, the more you realize that you are enough, just as you are, and that is a powerful foundation on which to build a fulfilled life. Trusting your own voice over external opinions is one of the most liberating steps you can take in your life. We live in a world full of noise voices telling us what to do, how to think, what to believe, and who to be. We are constantly bombarded with messages from family and friends to media and society, all offering advice, expectations, and judgments. While some of this input can be helpful, too often it leads us to doubt our own instincts, desires, and truths. We begin to second guess ourselves, wondering whether we are making the right choices or if we are measuring up to what others think we should be. Learning to trust your own voice, to tune into your inner wisdom, is a transformative act of self-empowerment. The first step in trusting your own voice is recognizing that you are the authority of your own life. No one else has walked your path, experienced your struggles, or felt your emotions in the way that you have. While advice and feedback from others can be valuable, ultimately you are the one who knows what resonates with your heart and soul. The voice inside you is shaped by your experiences, your values, your passions, and your purpose. It's the voice that whispers to you when you are aligned with what feels true, and it's the one that gets quieter when you ignore your own needs in favor of others' opinions. Listening to that voice means trusting that you know what is best for you, even when others may not understand or agree with your choices. So often we turn to others for validation, seeking confirmation that we are on the right track. We want someone to tell us that our ideas are worth pursuing, that our feelings are valid, or that our dreams are achievable. While support and encouragement from others can be incredibly important, it's essential to remember that the final decision always rests with you. External opinions can sometimes cloud your judgment, especially if they contradict what you feel deep down. The challenge is to cultivate the courage to stand by your convictions, even when they differ from what others expect or want from you. This doesn't mean disregarding the advice or perspective of those you trust, but it means that you are empowered to make decisions that align with your own truth rather than trying to please others or meet their expectations. Trusting your own voice also involves quieting the external noise long enough to hear your inner wisdom. This can be difficult in today's fast-paced, information-heavy world. There are so many distractions, so many people telling us what to do and how to live, that it can be challenging to separate the voices of others from our own. To trust yourself, you must learn to tune out the clutter and get still enough to hear your intuition. This might mean taking moments of solitude to reflect, journaling your thoughts, or simply being present with your feelings without the interference of outside influences. The more you practice listening to your own voice, the clearer it will become, and the stronger your ability to trust it will grow. One of the reasons we struggle to trust our own voice is fear of being wrong, fear of judgment, fear of failure. We fear that if we make the wrong choice, it will confirm our worst fears about ourselves, that we're not capable, not smart enough, or not worthy of success. But the truth is, making mistakes and learning from them is part of the human experience. There is no such thing as a perfect decision. And even if things don't go as planned, you will always learn something valuable from the experience. Trusting your voice means having the courage to move forward, even in the face of uncertainty, knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way. The more you trust your own voice, the more you will develop confidence in your ability to make decisions and take action. Over time, you will start to notice how your choices become more aligned with your true desires and values, leading to a deeper sense of fulfillment. Instead of feeling lost or uncertain, you will begin to feel a sense of clarity and purpose that comes from knowing you are living authentically. And as you continue to trust your own voice, you'll also notice that you are less affected by the opinions of others. You will become less reliant on external validation and more confident in your own ability to navigate the world based on your own instincts and understanding. Trusting your voice is a lifelong journey. It requires ongoing practice, patience, and self-compassion. But the rewards are immeasurable greater peace of mind, a deeper connection to your true self, and a life that reflects who you truly are, not who others think you should be. The more you trust yourself, the more you will realize that you are enough exactly as you are, and that your voice is the one that matters most. When we start to live authentically, we step into a space where we are free to be ourselves without the need for validation from others. Authenticity is not about being perfect or meeting society's standards. It's about being true to who we are, embracing both our strengths and our flaws, and showing up in the world as our most genuine selves. The pressure to conform to what others expect of us is immense, and often we lose sight of our own values and desires in the process. But when we choose authenticity over approval, we start to live in alignment with our own truth. This shift allows us to make choices that feel right rather than those that are simply designed to meet external expectations or avoid criticism. Living authentically means shedding the layers of expectation that others have placed on us. From a young age, we are often told what is expected of us, whether it's in school, in relationships, or in the workplace. We internalize these external pressures, believing that we must fit into specific molds to be accepted or successful. Over time, we start to disconnect from our true selves, trying to be someone we think others want us to be instead of who we truly are. Authenticity requires us to break free from these constraints and embrace who we are, imperfections and all. Choosing authenticity means honoring your own values and desires, even when they don't align with what others expect. It's about making decisions based on your inner guidance rather than seeking external approval. This can be a difficult shift because at times we fear that being authentic will lead to rejection or disapproval. But the truth is that when we embrace authenticity, we create a life that is fulfilling and meaningful. We build deeper, more genuine relationships because we are no longer pretending to be someone we're not. We also begin to attract people who accept and appreciate us for who we are, rather than those who are drawn to a version of us that we've created to fit in. Living authentically isn't about being reckless or disregarding the feelings of others. It's about being mindful of how we show up in the world and making choices that align with our truth. Sometimes, authenticity requires difficult conversations or uncomfortable situations, but it also leads to a life that feels grounded and true. When we live authentically, we no longer waste energy trying to maintain a facade or people please. Instead, we become more confident in our decisions, knowing that they reflect our deepest values and desires. It's important to recognize that living authentically is a journey, not a destination. It takes time and self-reflection to uncover who we truly are and what we truly want. Along the way, we may make mistakes, encounter challenges, and experience moments of doubt. But these are part of the process. Authenticity isn't about being flawless. It's about being real, embracing growth, and learning from each experience. It's about having the courage to step into who we are, even when the world around us is encouraging us to do something else. Ultimately, living authentically allows us to be free from the burden of pretending. It gives us the freedom to pursue what matters most to us, to engage with others in a genuine way, and to live a life that is true to our deepest selves. When we let go of the need for external validation and choose to live according to our own values, we find a sense of peace and fulfillment that cannot be found in trying to meet the expectations of others. The more we live authentically, the more we begin to understand that we are enough just as we are. The process of embracing the idea that you are enough just as you are is a powerful and liberating act. In a world that constantly tells us we need to be more and more successful, more attractive, more accomplished, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that we are not enough. This message is reinforced in so many ways, from social media to the expectations placed on us by society, family, and even ourselves. We can spend so much of our time striving to meet these external standards, believing that we must change or improve in some way to be worthy of love, success, or happiness. But the truth is, you are enough right now in this very moment without needing to prove anything to anyone. The first step toward embracing your inherent worth is to stop measuring yourself against the standards set by others. We are all unique individuals with different journeys, backgrounds, and values. Yet, so often we compare ourselves to others and measure our worth by their accomplishments, appearance, or lifestyle. This kind of comparison only leads to feelings of inadequacy and dissatisfaction because we are not meant to follow someone else's path. We are meant to walk our own. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you can start to see your own worth. You begin to realize that your value doesn't come from external validation, but from who you are at your core. Self-acceptance is key to understanding that you are enough. It involves acknowledging both your strengths and your flaws without judgment. We live in a culture that tends to focus on perfection, and as a result, many of us are conditioned to hide our vulnerabilities or weaknesses. But embracing who you are means accepting yourself in your entirety, including the parts you may have once viewed as flaws or imperfections. These aspects of you do not define your worth, they are simply parts of your story. When you embrace them, you start to realize that your uniqueness is something to be celebrated, not hidden or ashamed of. You begin to see that being imperfect is part of being human, and that does not make you any less worthy of love, success, or fulfillment. Another important aspect of embracing your enoughness is learning to set boundaries that honor your needs. When we constantly seek external validation or try to meet the expectations of others, we often forget to listen to our own needs and desires. Setting healthy boundaries allows you to prioritize your well-being and affirm that you deserve to be treated with respect, kindness, and care. This also means learning to say no when something doesn't align with your values or when it drains your energy. By doing this, you reaffirm to yourself that you are worthy of taking up space, of being true to who you are, and of protecting your peace. Part of embracing that you are enough involves shifting the narrative in your own mind. Often we are our own harshest critics, focusing on what we haven't accomplished or where we think we've fallen short. But shifting this mindset means changing the way you speak to yourself. Instead of focusing on perceived deficiencies or mistakes, begin to acknowledge and celebrate your growth, resilience, and achievements. This doesn't mean ignoring areas for improvement, but rather recognizing that you are constantly evolving and that you are enough as you are right now. Your journey is unique and your worth is not dependent on perfection or external accolades. Lastly, accepting that you are enough is an ongoing practice. It's not a one-time realization, but a continuous process of returning to yourself, reminding yourself that you are worthy of love, success, and happiness regardless of where you are in life. The more you practice self-compassion and self-acceptance, the easier it becomes to embrace your inherent worth. You start to feel more at peace with who you are, and you stop looking for approval from others. In doing so, you create a life that is authentic, fulfilling, and aligned with your true self. When you truly embrace that you are enough, you begin to live from a place of confidence and inner peace, knowing that you are already worthy, just as you are. In conclusion, focusing on yourself and trusting your own journey is the key to finding fulfillment and peace. By embracing your worth, trusting your voice, and living authentically, you free yourself from the pressures of comparison and external expectations. When you choose to prioritize self-love, self-respect, and self-acceptance, you create a life that reflects who you truly are, not who others think you should be. Remember, you are enough as you are, and your path is uniquely yours to walk. Let go of the need for validation from others and instead trust in your own ability to make decisions that align with your truth and values. This journey of self-focus is the ultimate act of empowerment, allowing you to live a life that is deeply meaningful and true to yourself.